First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
A former North Florida Congresswoman reports to federal prison.
And local schools are taking new steps to fight the flu.
But first, our top story, an arrest in an Ocala murder investigation. I'm Amanda Grahowski.
And I'm Nicolette Perdomo. The shooting was one of two that happened in Ocala last Thursday. WUFT's Alexa Lorenzo has new details on this recent arrest and joins us now live in the newsroom.
Well, Ocala police say they've made one arrest in one of the neighborhood shootings that took place just hours apart last week. 21-year-old Jaquez Barr is behind bars in Volusia County. Police arrested him Sunday, tying him to the altercation at North Roads Apartments in Ocala Thursday. Barr was one of the 3 people injured in the shooting and was charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. 22-year-old Corrine Dukes was the victim in the shooting, dying at a local hospital that same night. Even with Barr's arrest, though, Ocala police say the shooting investigation continues. Hours earlier, 2 men fired shots in an unrelated incident, injuring each other and 2 bystanders at Parkside Garden Apartments. No arrests have been made in this shooting. Ocala police have increased patrols in that area and say they've received numerous calls about violent activity taking place at the apartment complex.
We're obviously just engaging the community, talking with as many witnesses as we possibly can to try to get to the bottom of what's occurring and try to prevent anything from happening in the future.
Now, Mayor of Ocala, Kent Gwynn, is scheduled to meet with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development later this week to discuss concerns about Parkside Apartments. They're hoping to develop a plan that will decrease criminal activity in the area. Live in the newsroom, Alexa Lorenzo, WUFT News. Former Congresswoman Corinne Brown is behind bars in federal prison tonight. She reported to a facility in Sumter County earlier today.
She's beginning to serve a 5-year sentence for a charity scam used for spending cash. WUFT's Ramsey Touchberry spent the day in Sumter County.
The former Congresswoman arrived here to the Coleman Federal Prison shortly before noon, where she met with her spiritual advisor. He told us afterwards that the last thing she wanted to do was to pray.
She asked me for prayer, and along with prayer, I gave her words of encouragement and wisdom as she embraces this journey.
Pulling up to the Federal Correctional Complex in a large black van, unable to see her through the tinted windows, Brown's spiritual advisor hopped in and a few minutes later returned.
No one would be excited to go into a facility, but she's still the strong leader that we all know that she is, and she sends her love to all of her constituents and those who have supported her throughout this process.
Today marks day 1 of Brown's 5-year sentence at the minimum security facility. The 71-year-old Democrat was convicted of federal corruption, conspiracy, tax evasion, and fraud in May of last year. Her request to remain out on bond as she appeals her 18 federal convictions was recently denied. Brown's spiritual advisor asked others to try and relate to the former Congresswoman's situation behind bars.
Again, put yourself in the shoes that if this was your family member, a loved one at 71 years old that had to face what she's facing. So let's continue to keep her in our prayers.
Now, as for the RTS Corinne Brown Transit Facility named after her in Gainesville, there's still no word when that will be renamed. Reporting from Coleman Federal Prison, Ramsey Touchberry, WUFT News.
With criminal charges now pending in the death of a fraternity pledge, Florida State University will begin easing its ban on Greek life. Fraternities and sororities are now allowed to hold recruitment and philanthropic events. However, social activities are still suspended. The ban came in November, just days after an FSU Pi Kappa Phi pledge died following a Greek life party. So far, 9 people have been charged in connection with that death. UF is regretting quick payment of a bill from Alachua County based on security costs for Richard Spencer's visit. UF now hopes the county will return the check, which was just over $300,000. The city of Gainesville is not expected to press for reimbursement, but Alachua County did. UF says it was an internal miscommunication for the payment to go out before a full review of Spencer's cost is complete. And it was a little bit gray outside today.
And a little chilly as well, but hopefully things look up tomorrow. WUFT's Grayson Jarvis joins us now from the Weather Center. Grayson, will we see some sun tomorrow?
Well, Nicolette, the good news is, yes, we will be getting some sun tomorrow, However, unfortunately, it's not going to be any warmer than it was today. Look at highs that we reached today. We had trouble getting into the 70s throughout north central Florida. Only down in Daytona and the Villages did we get up there. 67-degree high in Gainesville. And that's only going to get cooler as we get into tonight. By 6 p.m. we're down to 16. You can see how quickly it drops. By 8 p.m. we're down to 49. By midnight down to 45. And by 4 a.m. we're down to 42. And you can see those wind chills. 36-degree wind chill by 4 a.m. That's because of some cold air moving out of the northwest into our area, and it's going to get even worse than that in the earlier morning hours. A 34-degree wind chill in Gainesville, freezing in Ocala and Bronson. Back to you.
A Gainesville man is accused of firing his gun to scare a group of kids. Police say 28-year-old Eric Springborn confronted kids he blamed for messing with a car he keeps near his mobile home in the Lamplighter community. Springborn is accused of brandishing the weapon and firing rounds into the ground near a basketball court. He is charged with aggravated assault.
Hale Plantation residents are on alert after a series of car break-ins occurred last week. The Hale Plantation Association says the spree of break-ins happened in 5 different neighborhoods, most of them occurring overnight and involving unlocked cars. But even a week after the crimes, local residents are still unhappy. In an email to County Commissioner Mike Byerly, a resident voiced their displeasure about a trail that now runs through the town, saying it's the reason for the recent wave of crime. Hale Plantation resident Jan Wisby walks the trail every day with her dog Esther and says she's never had a problem on the path.
After being a resident since 1992, it's pretty obvious that I really like the neighborhood. I love the walking trails. I feel very, very safe in this neighborhood.
Wisby says the community sent out an alert last week to notify the residents of the crime spree. She believes that the break-ins will give her and other residents a reminder to take necessary precautions to prevent future burglaries.
Alachua County schools are doing what they can to stop the deadly flu from spreading. Public schools will begin offering flu shots on Wednesday. This comes after school officials sent home a letter with kids today urging parents and children to get the flu vaccine. They say, according to health officials, we may not have reached the peak of flu season yet. In addition to getting the shot, sick children should stay home from school. In Florida, there have been 3 pediatric deaths linked to the flu this season. And local churches are doing their part to stop the flu from spreading. Ocala's Our Lady of Springs Catholic Church has stopped serving wine for communion, and that sign of peace handshake among parishioners has now turned into a friendly wave or a peace sign. Holy Faith Catholic Church hasn't stopped certain rituals, but urging people who are sick to be conscientious to other churches.
Imagine living for years without vision until the injection of a new drug starts to restore your eyesight.
A UF professor has worked decades to prove it's possible. Alexis Pastor joins us with the progress report.
More clinical trials are ongoing, but the FDA approval is in hand. A new gene therapy drug is expected to hit the market. It targets a defective gene for one cause of blindness, but the research behind it may be a model for tackling other problems. UF professor William Hosworth is a specialist in molecular genetics and ophthalmology. His team, along with a group at the University of Pennsylvania, invented a new gene therapy treatment for blindness. They started in 2001 with tests on dogs.
Then I decided, well, let's see if we can actually cure blindness. And so it was very exciting when we cured blindness in an animal. And I said, done. And then I thought, well, you know, patients are deserving. If we have the animal model for that specific genetic form of blindness, why not try it in patients?
Human trials started in 2010, and the drug, called Luxturna, was approved in late December. The drug was designed for individuals with a genetic mutation of the RPE65 gene located in the retina. Hosworth says the treatment is groundbreaking.
Well, it demonstrates that, at least in theory, any genetic disease, any disease that has a genetic basis could respond to gene therapy if you put the right gene in the right place, in the right dose.
The manufacturer Spark Therapeutics has not yet set a price or release date, but that's expected to come out within the next few weeks.
Coming up, WUFT News first at 5, a top FBI official steps down.
Plus, Uncle Sam is now accepting 2017 tax returns. Those stories and more coming up after the break.
And a chilly night's in store tonight, but a freeze is possible later this week. I'll tell you the latest coming up.